Alright, I hope everyone's got their notes page ready to go. All you're going to have to do is just follow my work and copy down the proportions as we go along. So this should be pretty simple because all of these are basically the same thing. It's just different ways to set up a proportion using the shapes, the triangles in particular. Plus, we're going to review some vocabulary. So we're going to start with reviewing an altitude. So in case you forgot, the altitude is the line down the middle of the triangle that causes the 90-degree angle to happen. So what we can do is we can set up a proportion to find the missing altitude in the triangle on the right here, using a proportion. So what you want to do first, according to the little formula, is to take the two sides of the triangle. So we have 8 as the side on the left, and we have 14 as a side on the right. So we're going to take those two and put them into the first fraction. Then we can take the two altitudes, which is 6 and x, and we're going to put those also in the same fraction. So just be careful that since we picked to have the left triangle on the top, that you keep the numbers from the left also on the top. And the same thing with the right triangle, that the 14 and the x came from the right triangle, so keep those together. And then all you have to do is cross multiply to get your answer. So 8 times x gives you 8x, 6 times 14 is 84, and when you divide by 8 you get 10.5. So the altitude for the missing piece here in this triangle is 10.5. Alright, let's try the next one. Number 2 is an angle bisector. So again, in case you forgot what the angle bisector is, it's a line down the middle here that causes the angle to be cut in half right there. So what we can do is, again, we can set up a proportion to find a missing piece of this triangle down here. So what we're going to do is we're first going to take the sides that we know. So we know 10 and 12. So we're going to take 10 and 12 and we're going to put that into our first fraction. So I'm kind of going left to right, as you can see in all these examples. So 10 over 12 will go in your first fraction, and then you'll put the pieces of the bisector, the x and the 6, into the other fraction, again going left to right. So x over 6. And cross multiply. So we get 12x equals 60, and then x will equal 5. So our missing side, or missing piece of this triangle, is 5, which would end up making the whole piece 11. So now we have all the sides of the triangle. Okay, next vocabulary term is the median. So in case you forgot what a median does, again, the median cuts the side in half. So when you drop this down in the middle and you create your 2 equal parts on both sides, so the side is cut in half. So it's the same idea. So what we're going to do is we will take the side of the triangle that we know. So we only have a piece of the triangle, which is x and 9. So those two pieces of the side we're going to make into the first triangle. And then we're going to take the other two, the medians, the 8 and the 13, and we're going to put those into a fraction. So x over 9 equals 8 over 13. Cross multiply, so you get 13x equals 72, and you'll end up getting x is 5.5. What a beaut. Alright, last but not least for triangles is talking about perimeter. So in case you forgot what perimeter means the distance around the outside. So what you have to do is you have to take the sides that you know. So as you notice in the triangles that I gave you, you only have one pair of sides that match up, because we don't know what this side is and we don't know what the bottom is. But we do know what the 8 and the 12 are, and they match up. So 8 and 12, because that's what we know, and remember we kind of talked about this before with scale factors. So 8 and 12 are going to go into the first fraction as the sides that they gave us. The next thing is going to be the perimeter. So as you notice, I have the perimeter of the triangle on the left is going to go on the top. So to get the perimeter, you're going to go 8 plus 4 plus 6. So 8 plus 4 plus 6 is going to give you 18. And then the perimeter of This triangle over here on the right, we don't know, so that's going to be question mark, or x. We don't know what that is. So now we're going to cross multiply. So we get 8x equals 216, and then divide by 8 and you get 27. So the perimeter of the triangle on the right is 27. So again, an easy way to find those out. Alright, so before we go to the next one, I was just thinking, hey, would you want to find the proportion of a real football versus Jordy the football? Just wondering, because this is her Super Bowl outfit, so we could figure out how much material it takes to clothe Jordan in the football versus, no, don't want to do that. Alright, well, let's keep going on. So the next thing, last but not least, we got two more examples about parallel lines. So when you have all these parallel lines in here and we got transversals, they create, again, proportional parts. And this hopefully should be pretty easy for you. So what you want to do with these, again, it's going to be a proportion. You can almost set it up exactly as is. So what I like to do is I like to look kind of at the strips of parallel lines. So this right here is a strip or a kind of channel of parallel lines, 10 and x. So you can put those two in a fraction together, 10 over x. The next strip is going to be the 8 and the 6. So we're going to put the 8 over 6 together. Now some of you might be thinking, well, I could do it a different way. And you're right. You could do this. You could do 10 over 8 equals x over 6. And you'll still get the same answer, and I'll show you that that actually does work. So let's do the one that I did originally, which is 60 equals 8x, and you'll end up getting x is 7.5. And then let's come over here and double check this guy. So if you set it up this way, it's really the same thing. So you're still going to get 8x equals 60, and you'll still get x equals 7.5. So there is different ways you can think about setting this up. Whatever makes the best sense to your brain is fine. Alright, last example. So this time, I hope you're thinking to yourself, we're missing something, because we are. We kind of need this piece right here in order to set up our proportion. So is there anything in the picture that we could maybe use to help us find question mark so we can set up our proportion? Well, what we can do is we can take this 20 here and think of the part plus part equals whole. So 20 is the whole from this point to this point. And we know that this much is 14, so if we subtract 14 from 20, we get 6. So our missing question mark is 6. So I'm just throwing that out there in case you see that and you're like, I don't know what to do. Help me. No, no, no. Now you know. Alright, so we can now set up our proportion. So we'll take, again, you can use the strips. You can go up and down. So here's one right here, 14 over 8. And then we're going to set 14 over 8 equal to 6 over x. And then we can cross multiply, get 14x equals 48. And when you divide, you'll get x equals 3.4. So don't be worried. There are some of you who are like, we're getting decimals, these numbers are ugly. It's going to happen, and it's okay. My rule is to round to 2 decimal places. Round to 2 decimal places, and that will be the most accurate.